Well, a few weeks ago, I mentioned the really, really disturbing stat. It's so awful on every level. But the disturbing stat that said a baby born in the Deep South today will have a life expectancy of only 2 to 3 years longer than a baby born in 1900. Got it? So if you want to believe, you're absolutely bonkers, Health and Human Services Secretary. The issue or issues, I guess we should say, is wearable technology. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. Or I guess I should say, his position is it's the lack of access to wearable technology. I said wearable technology. I believe the latest data shows that it's about 40% of people have wearable technology, and probably more of us than that are fat. But do with that whatever you want. Now, let me say this before I call him nuts, and I will, because I think that he is. I will say this for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's doing, God, this is not easy, because he's a nut job, in my opinion. He's doing the right thing. I think he's doing the responsible thing. I think he's doing the job description thing for pointing out and pointing a finger at us about our overall health habits. That, I think, is the right thing to do. I don't think it's going to work. There's no evidence that it will. But I don't fault that crazy guy for that. What's happening to us is largely our own fault. Not everything disease-related is our fault, but a lot of what is happening now, and that includes the cost of healthcare, is very, very much our own fault. So it's not completely irresponsible for this guy who's typically shirtless, for him to point a finger at us and say, you got to take better care of yourself. That's okay. And for that, I'll give him props. I will double down on, I think he's nuts. Now, the important part for all of us, can that problem, our health problems, mostly caused by ourselves, and there's not much indication of a change. So can that problem, what we do to ourselves, can that be solved or reduced, lessened by wearable technology? There you go. And yes, that's where he went. I mean, I know the answer that most of us that wear wearable technology for fitness reasons, I know what we're going to say. Yeah, it helps, Jeff. But that's not the billion-dollar question here. A government employee working for you is saying that if you could get access to wearable technology, things would change. Here he goes, and it's not easy. He's never easy to listen to. We have to acknowledge that. But here he goes at some congressional hearing yesterday, and oh my gosh.
We're about to launch one of the biggest advertising campaigns in HHS history to encourage Americans to use wearables. It's a way of people can take control over their own health. They can take responsibility. They can see, as you know, what food is doing to their glucose levels, their heart rates, and a number of other metrics as they eat it. And they can begin to make good judgments about their diet, about their physical activity, about the way that they live their lives. We think that wearables are a key to the MAHA agenda, making America healthy again. And we are going to, my vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years.
Oh, my. Yeah. Do they help? Yeah. If you are a person that is into your health and into your fitness levels and all things health related, you bet wearables are helpful. That's if you're into it already. So when he says, by the way, when he says one of the biggest, code for most expensive ad campaigns of all time, that bar is really, really high because we have a history in this country, particularly say no to drugs. Remember that? It didn't work at all either, by the way, for I would submit to you the exact same reasons. But those were billion-dollar campaigns. So when he says we're going to throw money at this, we're going to throw your money at your lack of concern for your health, And oh, by the way, we're going to get you access to wearables. Everybody. He's talking about a lot of money. This is billions, okay? Billions. Does wearable technology help? Okay, yeah, sure. Got it. If you want to monitor your health and fitness, there are more and better options than ever before. But notice what I just said. That's if you want to monitor your health. That's if you would like to make the effort. The people that wear them that want to make the effort, shocking response, probably do make the effort. Can you be convinced? So let's start walking down this, all right? We're going to walk down this path with him, a very expensive path. Can you be convinced? Can your neighbor be convinced? Because I know the response back is, well, Jeff, I'm in great shape. I don't need this. My fat neighbor, though, that lazy ass, get them some wearables. But can you be convinced that if more people had wearable technology, we would see better health habits follow? That is his premise. Okay? It sounds like he's going to take your money and put it to the test. But let me repeat that again. Okay? If more people had wearable technology, we would see better health habits follow. Yes or no? You want to say maybe? Now, your man, the nutty Bobby Kennedy Jr., thinks we can convince out-of-shape Americans to get wearable technology, and the next thing you know, we're counting calories, we're counting steps, we're counting heart rate and glucose. Do you believe that equation? Do you believe the cause and effect? If we get you wearable technology, the person who's never counted steps, the person that's never given a flip about calories, that all of a sudden you're going to do that. There you go. Then we get to the other part. And I don't want to nerd out as an advertising professor for a second, but I might a little bit. Then we get to this billion-dollar question, and that is, can an ad campaign convince your out-of-shape neighbor? Because there's no way we're going to say we're out of shape. We're in perfect shape. It's my fat neighbor, right? Can an ad campaign convince your out-of-shape neighbor to spend between $90 and $1,000 to get a wearable? And once that wearable is on, the pounds start coming off. The heart rate lowers, the BP goes down, glucose is better, blah, blah, blah. I mean, can an ad campaign, because this is going to be the next step. Like I said, I'll go back to the very beginning. It is not, I do not fault him or anyone for saying, hey, America, you're eating yourself to death. You're sitting yourself to death. Own it. Nothing is wrong with that. His solution is the billion-dollar question. And so, one, will wearables do this? Two, can he create or someone create an ad campaign to convince you to use the wearable, and the rest is, a healthy America history? Because our costs are where they are largely because of what we do to ourselves. Not everything, but largely our costs. I mean, our costs could be cut, I don't know what the exact data would say, but probably by half if we took better care of ourselves. So, can you be convinced? All right. It's reported the wearables are between $99 to $800. That's not true. You can get something perfectly effective for a lot less than that. You can also get something that's probably largely a waste for a lot more than that. He says, you're a government employee. If it's a way people can take control over their own health, they can see what food is doing to their glucose levels, their heart rates, and a number of other metrics they eat. Asked about whether the federal government might fund the devices, he added, the Ozempic is costing $1,300 a month. If you could achieve the same thing with an $80 wearable, it's a lot better for the American people. We're exploring ways of making sure those costs can be paid for. Latest surveys show that more than 40% of American adults, equivalent of 103 million people, already use a wearable device. All right, so you get his argument, and maybe you believe it. It is your argument, you know that, right? This is your money, this is your employee, these are our hospitals, all that stuff. So I don't think we get a pass on any of this. But, I mean, he's not wrong. We do know, can we at least own some of this, that, that Ozempic for $1,300 or whatever it costs per month, the running shoes would be a lot less. The wearables and running shoes, walking shoes, biking shoes, whatever you want to say, would be a lot less. So it sounds like he's saying, well, gosh, it's money well spent. And truthfully, if it worked, if you did say $80, $60, well, it's a government deal, so it'll cost $110. $100 per wearable for 100 million citizens. But my plan works and we cut back on what we eat. We cut back on, we do more steps. Everything improves because of the wearables and our healthcare costs go down. That is his cost benefit analysis. And yeah, he's right. I mean, if we did pay better attention to our health, if we took better care of ourselves, our costs would go down. Yep, true. Got it? So then we get to this other part about what you can be convinced of doing. And here's where I don't know that you can trust anybody, because the government in particular, this is not crazy Bobby Kennedy's fault, but we have a history of spending a lot of money in ad campaigns that don't work. We have a history of spending money in ad campaigns, say no to drugs, this is your brain on drugs, that have tried to beat you up, and we do just the opposite. So let me tell you what advertising can do. Okay, I assume for these government contracts, these are not going to be a bunch of stiffs. They can hire some pretty sharp people. So what it can do, the goal of all advertising is to influence. Got it? Don't have to hide from that. Absolutely, that's the intent, is to influence. That can be to change or keep doing or try something else, right? To keep doing what you're doing, keep buying what you're buying, or that advertising can try to influence you to change and buy something else. It can influence you to buy for the first time. It can influence you to buy again. It can influence your search. It can influence the first time you walk in a store, the first time you search a site. It can influence you to do all those things. What it can't do, even though we've spent a lot of your money trying to do this, what advertising can't do, it cannot humiliate you into change. It can't even scare you into change. In spite of what you think, there's plenty of evidence that says just the opposite. It's been tried countless times to humiliate you into change, to scare you into change. And that was the war on drugs. Stuff like, this is your brain on drugs. We're going to freak you out. We're going to punish you. We're going to scream at you. We're going to humiliate you. And that will do it. That will get you to change. It's pretty easy to create those ad campaigns. It's not real difficult to be creative when you get to scream at someone. But it doesn't work. Advertising can't do that. It can't. That's not how it can influence you. You know what the award-winning, and I've thought about this for years, why no one has the guts or the foresight to apply this standard to our obesity epidemic and our health problems and all that stuff. The award-winning, groundbreaking, Don't Mess with Texas campaign taught us everything. It taught you basically what advertising can do, how it can influence you. And that Don't Mess with Texas campaign was about litter. And it taught us and sort of patted you on the back to take ownership. And the ownership that you take, whether it's a consumer or in this case, I mean, either way, I mean, you're being influenced, but you're being influenced by encouraging you to take ownership. The creators perfectly sent the message, this is your own backyard. These are your parks. These are your friends and neighbors. It didn't say if you throw some more trash down, you'll be fined $500. You suck. It didn't say, you loser, stop ruining the environment. Look what's going to happen to us. We're going to die. It didn't do that at all. They didn't do that at all. What they did say was, this is yours. These are your parks, your streets. This is your backyard. This is your Texas. That is exactly what they did. And all the data backed them up. It told us we're in charge of this. And I've always wondered, I wonder, if the same thing can be applied when it comes to our health. Again, not every problem we have is our own fault. A lot of stuff happens to us and it's terrible. But a lot of stuff is. A lot of stuff that's health related is totally in our control. Why not the same standard that went to a trash campaign being applied to how much we eat? He's trying to say that with the wearables, I think. I do. I don't think the logic is necessarily flawed, that if you have a wearable, you're going to be more inclined to care. And the more you care, the more ownership you take. But there's no ad campaign. They can't. It does. We do just the opposite as consumers. This is true whether you're buying toothpaste or whether you're getting fat. No ad campaign can scream, "You're fat, change now." The campaigns can't make you feel guilty. That doesn't work either. We have generations of say no to drugs, the war on drugs, which is an absolute colossal failure. And never once should anyone believe it was ever about health. No way. Don't trust anyone in politics, and sure the hell don't trust Richard Nixon. It was never about health. But screaming at us didn't get us to change at all. The only thing that works is, I want to change. I'd like to change. So, I mean, in a way, he's trying to say that. I'm giving him a lot of credit. I think he's a nut. And I'm giving him a lot of credit. But how he's getting there is an expensive proposition. Can we own that people that are into fitness buy wearables to be more in tune with being fit? Whether that's walking or running, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's all relative. But people that are concerned about their health are more likely to buy stuff concerned about their health. Consumers that don't give a flip aren't going to use that wearable, man. They got to want to change. Otherwise, that wearable is another $80 out of your neighbor's taxes. So the people that own and use wearables, for the most part, want to be healthier. Can we force someone into a wearable? Can we just drop it on your doorstep and you go, man, this is cool. I'm going to count my steps now. Oh my gosh, my glucose. I mean, are they really going to change? And that's what he's saying. We can make you, we can convince you, we can give a really strong hint that you need to take better care of yourself. You need to watch your calories. You need to watch your steps. The thought isn't terrible. I'll say that. But his approach and his hint at how we're going to pay for this is, as usual with this guy, just completely bonkers.